First time trying human reproduction. My alien princess roommate can't resist. It was the first morning Aaron had shared an apartment with someone who wasn't quite human. The alien princess, Celara, was sitting at the tiny kitchen table, her delicate hands wrapped around a cup of steaming coffee that seemed to wobble oddly in her grip. She tilted her head, large iridescent eyes scanning the thin blue steam rising from the cup. Aaron watched her carefully, amused and nervous. Living with an alien was always going to be strange, but he hadn't expected it to be this mesmerizing. Celara had arrived the day before, transported from her world by an interstellar treaty that allowed certain alien royals to experience human life firsthand. And now she was his roommate. "Aaron," she said, her voice musical but tinged with uncertainty, "this beverage." "How does it make humans so awake?" Aaron grinned, trying to suppress a laugh. "It's coffee. It has caffeine. It wakes you up, but it doesn't make you see the future or anything." Celara frowned, watching the cup with suspicion. She lifted a finger and lightly touched the rim, as if expecting it to sting. When nothing happened, she let out a quiet hum, a sound that made the air in the small kitchen shimmer slightly. Humans weren't supposed to have reactions like that, but then again, Celara wasn't supposed to be human either. "I wish to try the full experience," she said, her voice calm but eager. "Eating, drinking, sleeping, human life, I must understand it." Aaron rubbed the back of his neck. Sharing an apartment with Celara was already an adventure, and now she wanted to explore the basics of human life. "Well, okay, breakfast it is then, but I warn you, humans don't always follow strict rules for breakfast." Celara's eyes sparkled and she leaned forward, resting her chin on her hands. "I shall observe, I shall learn, teach me, roommate," he laughed. "All right, Your Majesty, let's start simple." Aaron pulled out a loaf of bread, some eggs, and a small carton of milk. Celara tilted her head again, her eyes widening at each item as if they were precious artifacts. "Bread, eggs, milk, these are the basic units of human life?" she asked, as if trying to memorize them. "In a way, yeah," Aaron said. He started cracking eggs into a bowl, trying to ignore the way Celara's gaze seemed to follow every movement like it was magic. "Humans usually scramble eggs or fry them. You like scrambled?" Celara nodded eagerly. "I wish to try." Aaron whisked the eggs, then poured them into a pan. The sizzle startled Celara and she jumped back slightly, letting out a soft, chime-like sound. "The noise, it is lively." "Cooking is supposed to be lively," Aaron said, flipping the eggs with practiced ease. "And smell, well, it's supposed to smell good." Celara leaned closer, inhaling deeply. Her eyes widened even further. "The aroma, humans create beauty from food, fascinating." Aaron laughed again, enjoying how genuinely curious she was. Most humans didn't appreciate the small wonders of everyday life, but Celara seemed to notice everything. He served her a small plate of scrambled eggs with a slice of bread, smiling as she carefully picked up a piece with her fingers, studying it like a scientist. She took a tiny bite and paused, letting the flavors reach her. Then, almost imperceptibly, she nodded. "Yes, pleasing to the senses. I understand now why humans enjoy this." "Glad you like it," Aaron said, sipping his coffee. "Next step, drinking this, but careful, it's hot." Celara took her cup in both hands again, this time blowing on it gently before taking a small sip. Her eyes widened and a soft hum escaped her lips. "Powerful, it wakes the mind," Aaron chuckled. "Exactly, welcome to the human morning ritual." As they finished breakfast, Aaron noticed Celara's gaze flicking toward the window. Outside, the city hummed with life, cars moving, people walking, drones buzzing. To most, it was ordinary. But to Celara, every movement seemed like a carefully orchestrated dance. "I wish to walk among them," she said suddenly, "to observe humans in their natural environment." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "You mean outside?" "Yes, to see how humans interact with one another, how they live their simple lives. It is enlightening." Aaron hesitated. Walking through a crowded city with an alien princess who could attract attention just by existing sounded like a challenge. But the excitement in her eyes was hard to resist. "All right, let's do it." They left the apartment, Celara carefully stepping onto the sidewalk. She tilted her head, observing the cars and people with an intensity that made Aaron smile. Humans were so used to ignoring their surroundings, but Celara noticed every little detail: the pattern of the crosswalk, the rhythm of footsteps, the way the sunlight hit the buildings. "Humans are curious creatures," she said softly. "So many moving parts, yet harmony exists." Aaron laughed. That's one way to put it. I call it chaos most days. Solara reached out to touch a passing street vendor's fruit stand. The vendor looked startled, but Solara simply picked up an apple, inspected it like a gem, then placed it back gently. So, humans eat these to sustain life? Yes, Aaron said. Fruits, vegetables, meat, all of it. Solara's eyes shone with fascination. Remarkable, such variety. Such ingenuity. As they continued walking, Solara occasionally asked questions that made Aaron pause. Why do humans rush so? She asked. Why do they speak without listening fully? Humans are complicated, he said honestly. We're always in a hurry, always distracted, but sometimes we get it right. Solara nodded, her expression thoughtful. I must learn this. I must understand it fully. By the time they returned to the apartment, the sun was high, and Solara's energy had not waned. She sat by the window, watching people move below, humming quietly to herself. There is so much to learn, so much to experience, she said. Aaron sat beside her, sipping his now-cold coffee. Yeah, and that's just the start. Human life is full of surprises. Solara turned to him, her eyes gleaming. Then I am fortunate to share this with you, roommate. Teach me all the things humans do. I wish to live fully like you. Aaron smiled, feeling a strange warmth. Sharing his life with an alien princess was definitely unusual, but it was turning out to be amazing. And as the day stretched into afternoon, with the city buzzing and sunlight spilling into the room, Aaron realized something. Solara wasn't just curious about humans. She was curious about life itself, and maybe in some quiet way about him too. For the first time, he felt that living with an alien might not just be an adventure. It could be extraordinary. The next morning began with a burst of energy. Solara had barely slept, her mind alive with the sights, sounds, and smells of the human world she had experienced the day before. Aaron, on the other hand, was still struggling to wake up, bleary-eyed and clutching his coffee like it was a lifeline. Aaron, you must rise, Solara said brightly, her voice full of authority that was both regal and playful. There is so much more to experience today, we must begin at once. Aaron groaned. Must we? It's barely 7. Solara's eyes widened. 7. The human day has already begun. You waste precious hours. Come, to the streets, to the markets, to life itself. He laughed, realizing resistance was futile. Solara had the energy of 3 humans and the curiosity of a scholar examining 1,000 worlds. He finally dragged himself out of bed and followed her into the small kitchen, where she was already preparing a strange mix of cereal and fruit, studying it as if it were a scientific experiment. Breakfast experiment number 2, she declared. Humans consume various items together. I must understand why. You just want to taste everything, don't you? Aaron said, shaking his head, though he couldn't hide his smile. Solara tilted her head. Curiosity is the first step toward knowledge, and knowledge is freedom. Aaron watched her take careful bites, her eyes widening with every flavor. So, humans mix flavors on purpose? She asked. Sometimes we do, Aaron said. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. Solara hummed thoughtfully. I shall keep track of successes and failures. The science of taste, fascinating. After breakfast, they left the apartment again, this time aiming for the busy city market. Solara's excitement grew with every step. The market was alive with people shouting prices, vendors waving goods, and the smells of fresh bread, spices, and roasting meat mingling in the air. She moved carefully among the crowd, her eyes taking in every detail. Humans trade not just for survival, but for enjoyment, she said. How elaborate, Aaron chuckled. It's called shopping. Some humans even enjoy it as a sport. Solara's gaze fell on a small stall where a vendor displayed colorful fruits. She reached out, lightly touching a mango. It felt soft and warm in her hand. How do humans know which to choose? She asked. You usually pick the one that looks good, Aaron said. Or the one that smells the sweetest. Sometimes it's just luck. Solara tilted her head, studying the mango as if it held the secrets of the universe. Then she smiled, a small, delighted curl of her lips. Luck, such an interesting human concept. I shall attempt it. She closed her eyes and gently picked a mango, then opened them to inspect it. Excellent choice. Perhaps humans are not entirely guided by logic. Aaron laughed aloud. Sometimes we're not, that's part of the fun. As they walked further into the market, Solara's fascination grew. She watched children chase each other, mimicking the movements of their parents. She observed humans bargaining, laughing, even scolding their pets, and took notes in a small digital pad she carried. Erin couldn't help but be impressed by how deeply she observed everything. Humans are emotional, yes, she said, not only logical but also swayed by feelings, astonishing. That's true, Erin said. Sometimes our emotions get us into trouble, but they also make life richer. Solara paused, looking at him with a thoughtful expression. I wish to understand that fully, to feel a fraction of human experience. Erin felt a strange warmth at her words. There was something pure in her curiosity, something that made him want to show her the best of human life. They spent the day wandering through the city. Solara tried her first human bus ride, marveling at how humans managed schedules and packed so many people into a moving metal box. She sampled street food, laughed at a street performer juggling flaming torches, and even attempted a short walk through a park, trying to mimic humans jogging, which ended in her tripping slightly and giggling with an unearthly sound. You see, Erin said, helping her up, humans are not perfect. We fall, we fail, but we keep going. Solara smiled, brushing herself off. And in imperfection there is learning, I understand. By evening, they returned to their apartment, both tired but exhilarated. Solara sat by the window, watching the city lights flicker to life. Erin, she said quietly, today was enlightening. I saw humans striving, laughing, even stumbling. There is beauty in your chaos. Erin nodded. Humans are messy, but we have our moments. You just need to see them from the right angle. Solara turned to him, her eyes shining. And I am fortunate to have you as my guide. You show me the essence of your world, and I wish to learn more. Erin smiled, feeling a mix of pride and amusement. Well, tomorrow is another day. There's a lot more human life to explore, work, movies, even laundry. You'll see there's adventure in the mundane, too. Solara's eyes sparkled with excitement. I cannot wait. The small details, they speak volumes. Humans have a rhythm, a pulse I wish to feel. The next morning, they started with something simple but challenging, chores. Solara was fascinated by the washing machine. She poked at buttons, tilted her head at the spinning drum, and finally pressed a combination of controls that almost flooded the kitchen with water. Erin dashed in just in time to save the floor, laughing so hard he could barely breathe. You see, he said, dripping wet, humans make mistakes even in simple tasks. Solara tilted her head, studying him intently. Mistakes, learning, again, essential. I am beginning to understand your species more. As days passed, Solara's understanding of human life deepened. She learned cooking, cleaning, shopping, and even simple human games like chess. She asked endless questions, tested boundaries, and observed everything with unwavering curiosity. Erin found himself enjoying every moment of it. One evening they sat on the rooftop, watching the stars. Solara's iridescent skin shimmered in the moonlight, and Erin realized how much he had come to appreciate her presence. Erin, she said softly, your world, humans, it is chaotic, messy, sometimes frightening. Yet it has wonder and kindness. I wish to carry this knowledge with me wherever I go. Erin smiled, feeling a warmth that was hard to describe. And I'm glad you're here to share it. Humans aren't perfect, but we have our moments. You help me see them too. Solara reached out, lightly touching his hand. Then we are learning together and perhaps teaching each other. Erin laughed softly. Yeah, something like that. As they sat together, the city buzzing below and the stars sparkling above, Erin realized that sharing human life with Solara was more than an adventure. It was a journey, one filled with laughter, curiosity, and the small, extraordinary moments that made human life, well, human. And for the first time, he felt certain that this unusual roommate, this alien princess, was not just a visitor from another world. She was a friend, a companion, and perhaps, in time, something even more. For Solara, every day was a discovery. For Erin, every day was a reminder that humans were capable of greatness, kindness, and wonder. Together, they were exploring life, one small step at a time, proving that understanding, curiosity, and friendship could bridge worlds. And in that small apartment, high above the bustling city, the human and the alien princess learned that life, ordinary and extraordinary alike, was best experienced together. The city had grown quieter by the time Erin and Solara left their apartment the next morning. There was a soft glow from the sun rising over the horizon, painting the streets in shades of orange and pink. Solara was unusually energetic, practically bouncing in place as she adjusted her small backpack. Erin, she said, her eyes sparkling, today we shall explore human work and play. I wish to understand how humans spend the majority of their hours. Erin laughed, shaking his head. You mean offices, factories, or wherever humans earn money? That's a lot of boring stuff. Solara tilted her head, a slight hum escaping her lips. Boring? I must decide. Perhaps it is fascinating, but hidden under complexity. Lead the way. They took the bus to the city center. Solara's fascination was palpable. She watched the other passengers intently, noting the way people read, slept, or stared out the windows. Humans, they endure long periods of repetition, yet continue with resilience, she observed. Extraordinary, Aaron grinned. We call it work. Some people like it, most tolerate it. Solara's fingers twitched slightly with curiosity. I must witness this directly. They arrived at a small library where Aaron worked part-time. Solara's eyes widened at the rows of books and quiet chatter of people around her. Humans seek knowledge and yet share space silently, curious combination of community and solitude. Aaron nodded. That's about right. Libraries are human sanctuaries of thought. You can learn, explore, or just sit quietly. Solara wandered carefully between the shelves, touching spines gently, reading titles aloud in her melodic voice. Fiction, non-fiction, history, science. She paused at a small display of poetry. Humans express themselves in words. Emotions captured in symbols. How elegant, Aaron smiled. You're learning fast. Most humans don't even notice these things. She glanced at him, a thoughtful expression on her face. Perhaps because they take life for granted, I must not. Every detail matters. After their library visit, they walked to a nearby park. Solara was drawn to children playing on swings and slides. She crouched to observe their movements, fascinated by their joy and freedom. Humans experience happiness in motion, not only in thought, she said softly. A lesson in simplicity, Aaron laughed. You're right, happiness is often in small moments. Solara's curiosity did not stop there. She tried roller skating at a small park rink, wobbling dangerously but laughing at herself whenever she nearly fell. Balance, humans achieve it through practice and instinct. I understand partially, but not fully, she said. You'll get it, Aaron said, holding her hand for support. Humans learn by doing, making mistakes, and trying again. By afternoon, Solara's energy was relentless. She wanted to try human games, so they joined a casual soccer match in the park. Solara, with her longer strides and alien agility, moved in ways no human could, but she tried to follow the rules. She passed the ball carefully, celebrated small victories, and even let Aaron score a goal just to see him smile. Rules, interesting constraints, she said between breaths. Yet humans create fun within them. I admire this, Aaron smiled. You're learning the human way. Fun isn't just winning, it's sharing the experience. As the day wore on, Solara's curiosity expanded into deeper questions. Aaron, humans spend years learning skills. Some become masters, some fail. Why invest so much effort when life is uncertain? Aaron paused, thinking. Because it's not just about success, it's about growth. We learn, we create, we connect. Even failures teach us something. Solara's eyes glimmered with understanding. Growth, connection, yes, these are life's true treasures. They returned home at dusk, exhausted but happy. Solara prepared a simple dinner herself, trying to recreate the flavors she had tasted at various restaurants in the city. She sprinkled spices with careful precision and hummed quietly as she cooked. Aaron watched her, impressed. You're getting really good at this. Humans spend years perfecting their cooking, and you're already enjoying it fully. She smiled, a small curl of her lips that made Aaron's chest warm. To enjoy life, one must participate fully. Observation alone is insufficient. I must act, taste, and live. After dinner, they sat on the rooftop again. The city lights twinkled below, and a soft breeze carried the sense of food and fresh air. Solara leaned back, eyes on the stars. Aaron, I have experienced so much in these short days. I understand humans partially, but even partial knowledge enriches the soul. Aaron nodded. Humans are complicated, but you're getting it. Curiosity is the first step, but feeling it, that's the real lesson. Solara's gaze turned toward him, thoughtful. And you are patient, guiding me without judgment. Humans are often impatient with each other, yet you teach kindness through example. Aaron felt a deep warmth. We're teaching each other, Solara. You help me see the world in ways I never noticed before. The following week, Solara took on new challenges. She joined a human language class to learn slang and casual speech. She attempted painting, fascinated by how humans expressed emotions with color and form. She even tried baking bread entirely on her own, marveling when it rose and smelled just right. Each day was a mix of laughter, trial, and discovery. One afternoon, they visited a science museum. Solara wandered from exhibit to exhibit, her curiosity unending. She marveled at human inventions, at the progress they had made from simple tools to advanced technology. Humans, remarkable in ingenuity, she said softly. You create, destroy, rebuild, yet continue forward. Perseverance is admirable. Aaron smiled. That's HFY in action, humans facing challenges, learning, surviving, and improving. Solara looked at him with admiration. And you embody it. You show me how humans embrace life fully despite flaws and mistakes. As night fell, they returned to the apartment once more. Solara sat by the window, writing notes about her experiences in a small journal. Aaron joined her, sipping his coffee. Aaron, she said, closing the journal carefully, I have begun to understand the beauty in human routine, the wonder in simple joys, and the strength in perseverance. Life, your world, is extraordinary even in its flaws. Aaron smiled, feeling a profound sense of connection. And sharing it with you makes it even better. Solara turned her iridescent eyes toward him. I must admit, I do not fully understand friendship as humans experience it, yet I feel it. With you, Aaron, I sense it clearly. You do? Aaron asked, a little surprised. Yes, she said softly. Companionship, laughter, shared discovery, these are what make human life rich. I am grateful for it. Aaron felt a warmth spread through his chest. Living with Solara had been an adventure from the start, but now it was more than curiosity or entertainment. It was connection, understanding, and the beginning of a bond that transcended worlds. Over the following days, they continued exploring together. Solara attempted more human sports, tried music, experimented with art, and even started a small indoor garden. Aaron found himself amazed at how deeply she engaged with every detail of life. She asked endless questions, made careful observations, and found joy in the simplest human activities. One evening, as snow lightly dusted the city, Solara and Aaron built a small snowman on the rooftop. She laughed as she shaped the snow, her melodic voice filling the night air. Even simple play, it brings happiness. Humans clever in finding joy in all things. Aaron smiled, placing a scarf around the snowman. Humans have a talent for finding joy in small things, even when life is complicated. Solara tilted her head, her eyes glimmering. And I am learning to appreciate it. Not only observe, but feel. That is life. As the night deepened, they stood side by side, looking out at the city sparkling below. Aaron realized how much he had grown too. Solara's curiosity, her wonder, her patience, it reminded him of the beauty in everyday life, the joy in simple things, and the strength humans carried within. For Solara, each day was a revelation. For Aaron, each day was a reminder that life was richer when shared, when observed, and when appreciated fully. Together, they discovered that curiosity, friendship, and the courage to embrace the unknown could transform ordinary days into extraordinary memories. And high above the quiet city, the human and the alien princess learned that life, simple, complex, joyful, and messy, was always worth exploring, one small adventure at a time. The following morning, Aaron woke to the sound of soft humming. Solara had already been awake for hours, sitting at the kitchen table with a notepad and a steaming cup of tea. Her iridescent eyes reflected the sunlight streaming through the window, and she looked completely absorbed in her own thoughts. Good morning, Aaron, she said cheerfully as he shuffled in, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Today, we shall explore human creativity and celebration. There is much more to life than work and routine. Humans, they also dream. Aaron smiled, yawning. Dreaming is one thing we humans do a lot, even if we don't always know it. So what's the plan for today, Your Highness of Curiosity? Solara tilted her head, a thoughtful hum escaping her lips. We will start with music. Humans create sound not only to communicate but also to express emotion. I must hear it fully, perhaps even attempt it myself. They walked through the streets to a small music store where local musicians often gathered. Instruments of all shapes and sizes were displayed. Solara's eyes widened as she ran her fingers across a piano keyboard. The sound of each note made her shiver with fascination. Humans, they speak with instruments, she whispered. Emotions captured in vibration, astonishing. Aaron laughed. It's like talking without words. Want to try? Solara nodded eagerly, sliding onto the piano bench. She placed her fingers carefully, producing a series of notes that were unpolished but strangely beautiful. Her face lit up as the melody wove through the air. Understand partially. Music conveys feeling even thought cannot fully describe. Aaron clapped softly. Not bad for your first try. You're a natural, really. She beamed, humming a little tune as if the sound itself delighted her. Music, a human bridge between hearts. I must learn more. After the music lesson, they wandered into a local festival that had sprung up in the city's central park. Bright colors, laughter, and the smell of food filled the air. Salara's eyes sparkled as she observed humans dancing, playing games, and celebrating. Humans, they create joy from nothing but presence and togetherness. This is culture. I understand more each day. Aaron pointed to a game booth where players tried to throw rings onto bottles. Want to try a game? Salara tilted her head, her expression calculating. Yes. Challenge humans in playful competition. I am ready. She attempted the ring toss, missing completely on the first few tries. Each time, she tilted her head, adjusted her aim, and tried again. On the fifth attempt, she landed the ring perfectly on a bottle. Her melodic laugh rang out, drawing smiles from nearby children. Victory, delightful and shared with all who observe, she said. Aaron chuckled. That's part of human fun. We celebrate the small wins. As the sun climbed higher, they explored more of the festival. Salara tried cotton candy for the first time, watching in amazement as the sugar melted in her mouth. She painted a small ceramic figure at a craft booth, carefully choosing colors that seemed to capture her alien sense of beauty. She even joined a human dance circle, attempting to mimic their movements with surprising grace, though her extra-long strides made her stand out. You fit in even when different, Aaron observed. Humans often fear what they don't understand, but you shine. Salara's eyes softened. Perhaps because I do not wish to conquer or dominate, only to learn and experience. Humans, they accept this in rare cases. I am fortunate. As evening approached, they returned to their apartment, both exhausted but exhilarated. Salara prepared a small tea ceremony for them, inspired by what she had observed in the festival. She arranged the cups and brewed the tea with precise care, humming softly. Aaron watched, fascinated by how seriously she took even the smallest rituals. Humans, they create meaning in simple actions, she said, pouring the tea. I wish to understand this deeply, every step, every moment, significance. Aaron nodded. That's the beauty of life. It's not always the big events that matter. Often it's the small ones. They sipped the tea in silence for a while, letting the warmth fill them. Outside, the city lights flickered on, reflecting in the windows. Salara's gaze drifted to the sky, where stars had begun to appear. Humans, they dream beneath these same stars for generations, and yet each dream is unique, Aaron smiled. And each dream can lead to something extraordinary. Salara leaned back, her iridescent skin catching the light. I am learning not only about humans but about life itself. Each day, a new lesson, a new sensation. I am grateful for your guidance, Aaron. You're teaching me too, Aaron admitted. You remind me to notice things I take for granted, the beauty, the curiosity, the wonder in ordinary moments. For the next few days, Salara's adventures continued. She joined a cooking class, trying dishes she had never imagined. She attended a local theater performance, captivated by how humans conveyed complex emotions through acting. She even volunteered at a small community garden, marveling at how humans nurtured life with patience and care. One afternoon, Aaron received a surprise message inviting them to visit a nearby observatory. Salara's eyes widened when she saw the telescopes. Humans, they reach for the stars even when they walk on the ground, she whispered, awe in her voice. They spent hours observing planets, stars, and distant galaxies. Salara scribbled notes furiously, asking questions about each constellation and the stories behind them. Humans, they create myths and science intertwined. Knowledge and imagination coexist, remarkable. Aaron nodded. That's human curiosity for you. We want to know everything, yet we dream endlessly. Salara's expression softened. And yet in these dreams there is hope, and in knowledge there is understanding. I appreciate this world deeply, Aaron. The days turned into weeks, and Salara's understanding of human life grew richer. She began trying simple acts of kindness, inspired by what she observed. She helped neighbors carry groceries, shared treats with children at the park, and even wrote small notes of encouragement for strangers to find. Aaron watched her, amazed at how naturally she adapted to human emotions. You're not just learning about humans. You're becoming part of it, he said. Salara's eyes sparkled. And I wish to remain so. Life, shared, experienced, felt, it is infinitely more meaningful. One snowy evening, as they returned from the park with a small snowman in tow, Celera paused to look at the city lights below. Aaron, I have seen humans succeed, fail, celebrate, create, and endure. I have observed kindness and struggle, laughter and sorrow. And through it all, there is beauty undeniable and persistent. Aaron smiled. That's HFY in action. Humans may be imperfect, but our spirit, our curiosity, our resilience, it shines through. Celera reached out and took his hand gently. And your spirit, Aaron, patient, guiding, sharing, it is a bridge between my world and yours. I treasure it. Aaron felt a warmth unlike anything before. Sharing his world with Celera had been an adventure, a challenge, and a joy. He realized that the greatest discoveries weren't just in the places they visited, the things they tried, or the lessons learned. They were in the friendship, trust, and mutual respect that had grown between them. For Celera, each new experience was a revelation, a way to understand life on a deeper level. For Aaron, every day spent with her was a reminder of the extraordinary in the ordinary, of the wonder in simple moments, and the joy of sharing life with someone curious and open-hearted. As the snow fell softly over the city, they stood together on the rooftop, watching the quiet streets below. The world seemed vast and full of possibilities, and yet in that small apartment high above the city, they had created a universe of their own. A universe built on curiosity, learning, laughter, and the slow, steady growth of understanding. Celera turned to Aaron, her eyes glowing softly in the moonlight. I have learned much, but I know there is still more. Human life, it is endless in lessons, beauty, and surprises. I wish to continue exploring always. Aaron smiled. And I'll be here to guide you and learn from you too. Together, they watched the snow settle over the city, two worlds connected by friendship, curiosity, and the endless possibilities of life. And in that quiet moment, both human and alien knew that the adventure was far from over. It was only just beginning.